So he's coming into me pretty dirty. Now, remember, we don't have a time to be fancy about this. These instruments that I have here, the bandages that I have here, I use the same instruments and the same bandages from one patient to the next. First thing I want to do is to make sure that I can find the bullet. Now, there were instruments that you could use to probe for a bullet, so I'd be in here. But as you said, right, the bullet's probably shattered. So I might be able to get a chunk or two out there, but not. So I'm here and there, I'm tap, 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 trying to find the metal bullet. But it's hard to find the bullet that way, so what am I going to use? My dirty finger. And my dirty finger is going to rummage around in the wound trying to find the bullet. I'm going to pull out as many pieces of the bullet with my tweezers as I possibly can, but I'm not going to get them all. So that means, of course, I am going to have to make sure that I amputate the leg so I can get down those other pieces of bullet and whatever possible infection is going to be. So the next step is to use my scalpel and to cut away the flesh. Now, I don't want to cut right where the injury is. I want to cut away a little bit above it, maybe as much as 2 inches above it, because again, that scattered bullet might get into the leg. I want to get above where that is. So I take it and I use my scalpel and I cut the flesh all the way around. So I'm exposing the bone. Of course, just exposing the bone doesn't mean I'm done yet. Now, a good Civil War surgeon, by the time the end of the war, could do this entire operation in 10 minutes. Amazing job. All right, next, I got to saw the bone. Now, of course, this is not a Civil War saw, but the saws they used back then didn't look that much different than this. And you got to be a pretty good chunky guy to do this. So I'm going to saw away. Here we go. Okay, about 3 or 4 minutes, right through the bone, I get there. I'm through the bone. But the end of the bone is pretty rough, right? With a pretty hard thing. So if I put this flap of skin over the end of the bone right now, what's going to happen to the skin? The bone is going to break through the skin, right? It's going to open up a wound there. So after I cut off the bone, I got to file it down, right? Make it smooth. So the next thing I'm going to do is smile. Okay, then I filed it, all right? So I've retracted the skin, I've retracted the bone. What do I do with the leg? That's what I do with the leg, all right? I'm a surgeon. I got people waiting. I have no time for niceties. And so outside of surgical tents, you will see during the Civil War times, piles of legs and arms just tossed out of the tent just like I did. Now there is supposed to be a corpsman that comes along and picks up those legs and arms and then buries them, but that doesn't always happen.